And welcome back for more live coverage of the migrant manhunt. It's actually live over on GB News, and I thought that I would do the updates as they come in. I'm finding this very interesting indeed. Let's head over to the Firefox browser and get on here. We've got the live chat up as well if people want to have a bit of a chinwag about this.
Chelmsford to further afield and now into London as well, where of course there are a huge number of other transport link station today at 12:41, and I can tell you that that London-bound train leaving Chelmsford at 12:41 is around 37 minutes. It gets into London at about 1:15, and on the way stops at Shenfield and Stratford as well as it heads into London. No word from the police if they know where Hadish Kabatu got off, or indeed where he did get off. But of course, this information means that their search investigation will be expanding dramatically from Chelmsford to further afield and now into London as well, where of course there are a huge number of other transport links available to.
Just quickly, no intro to this one because it's an update.
Mr. Kabatu, who of course was in HMP Chelmsford after being sentenced for sexually assaulting a 14-year-old girl. But the questions here really are why.
Now, I said in the last video, Sky News were actually turning around and saying a woman. A woman is somebody of 18 years old and above. Okay, it was a child, a 14-year-old child, probably younger, I think, I don't know.
Why did it take so long for the police to be made aware of the fact that this man had been released by accident from HMP Chelmsford? Hearing at 12:57, that is nearly 20 minutes after he boarded.
Let's go to the live chat so we can listen to him and live chat it as well.
And nearly an hour after residents in Chelmsford saw Mr. Kabatu, or who they believed to be this man, seen in prison tracksuits carrying belongings in a clear plastic bag on Chelmsford High Street. And here's a video that GB News has obtained of that moment. Well, the woman who filmed that video at 12:07 today on Chelmsford High Street said she saw the man there in that video standing there speaking to people for about 5 to 10 minutes before heading down Duke Street in Chelmsford, which is the street heading to the train station. We now know from Essex Police he boarded a train heading to London at 12:41. Essex Police went on to say that they are understand that the public will be concerned and are working to assure
concerned. There's a fucking nonce loose on the streets that was jailed for noncing, an illegal migrant. What the hell? Concerned. I need to go back to the Epping hotel. He'll probably go up and I'm going to nick someone saying now and he'll say Rishmik Run 22.
People that they are working to urgently locate this individual, but
now I know I'm laughing and stuff like that because this is sort of, you know, just shows the state of everything at the moment. This is just it's just the perfect storm for something to kick off, isn't it, really? Let's be honest.
Of course, search area now much bigger as they know that Mr. Kabatu could be in London or elsewhere now. We'll
call him Mr. Kebab.
7:30, well, since he was seen in Chelmsford High Street, 7.5 hours on. Essex Police continuing that investigation at speed, aware of very concerned people across Britain this evening.
This is live.
Very quick thinking of that lady who took that bit of film footage there, wasn't it, on her camera? On a
did we get to see it?
I mean, why did she do that? Was she suspicious, or did she recognise him from the original stories about the protest at the Bell Hotel?
Yeah, well, she's a Chelmsford.
Just to say, there's cameras everywhere nowadays, and there's no hiding really. They'll get him. They'll catch him. They'll catch him again. I guarantee it. I'll be in town tomorrow. If anybody wants to come down, I'll be bringing some flags with me for the Reform tent to give away. So I'll be downtown tomorrow doing a live at the Reform tent.
Local. She's a mum of two. She's in her mid-40s, and she's a mum of two teenage girls. And she said that she'd been following this case, of course, sparking widespread protests outside Epping Hotel, where Mr. Kabatu had been staying when he sexually assaulted a 14-year-old girl, which he was sentenced to.
Just makes me feel sick. That does.
Chelmsford. She said once she's very good at recognising faces, and so she immediately thought that this man could be Mr. Kabatu, and that's why she started filming. She said it's never something she would normally do, but in this instance she felt like she had to. She didn't really know why she had to do that, but of course when the news came out this evening that Mr. Kabatu had accidentally been released from prison when he was supposed to be going to a Home Office deportation facility, that's when she got in touch with 999 to tell them that she'd
supposed to be going to a Home Office deportation facility. So they're actually planning on deporting him, or
cited someone she thought to be Mr. Kabatu.
That's breaking. I didn't know that.
999 call handlers told her that they were made aware of a number of other similar sightings in Chelmsford this afternoon. But she said also she was on high alert because her daughters had been telling her of a number of other occasions when people had been coming up to them. Her daughters are 15 and 18 years old in the UK and abroad, making them really uncomfortable. So she's very, very aware of what's happening in the world at the moment. That's making teenage girls and women in general very, very uncomfortable. And so that's why she was particularly concerned. And she followed the man heading down Duke Street, who she filmed in that video, for a couple of minutes, but didn't dare go.
You know when you try something and you think
Get
they have
past this
thought
advert.
absolutely everything? That's how I feel about these toothbrushes. Our old ones dropped into a
50, but that is the man that she believed to be Mr. Kabatu, standing talking to a bunch of people on Chelmsford High Street at 12:07 this afternoon, just half an hour or so before boarding a train from Chelmsford to London, and the police now appealing for anyone who has any other information to get in.
So this is literally a manhunt for this geezer here that was staying in the Epping Hotel. If you've only just joined us, this man was actually arrested from the Epping Hotel for kissing and doing other things to a 14-year-old child. Sky News actually piped up and said it was a woman. It wasn't. It was a 14-year-old child. He was arrested, sent to prison, and now he has been what they are describing as accidentally released. Accidentally. Couldn't write this shit, literally.
Touch with them immediately.
More shit for Labour.
Okay, thank you very much, Will. That is GB News national reporter Will Godley. Let's talk to my panel quickly.
What I'd like to know is when is enough? When is enough enough? When are Britain going to actually stand up and say, right, that's it, that's enough, we've had enough of this, we're going to do something about this. Not aggressively, but we're going to do something about it, and we're going to force the government or Prince Charles to dissolve Parliament. That's the only way this will end, and have a general election. That's the only way I can see this ending. You're going to hear these sorts of stories now, week in, week out. In fact, you do hear them every single day. If you go and watch other social media platforms, someone's been assaulted here, someone's been stabbed there, someone's done this, someone's done that. It's ridiculous. I tell you, Great Britain, excuse me, Great Britain has never been so goddamn dangerous.
On this one, Charlie, the thing I can't understand is the time frame of this now. I mean, that lady took that video just gone midday today. But, you know, the
Shout out Melton Mafia's in the house.
general public weren't made aware of what was happening until tea time today. Surely if we'd have been given more
Quickly, Melton Mafia, share the shit out of this live.
information by the police, maybe we could have stopped this person earlier.
Yeah, I mean, this entire story represents so many different points of failure, and that is certainly one of them. I mean,
we will be reading some of the comments as we actually go through. In fact, I'll read a couple now. We just had Milton at Mafia pop up on the chat. He said, hey up, what's kicked off? Well, WTF, meaning what the F? I'm sick of this shit now. Mate, they couldn't run a nose. They couldn't run a sodding tap, mate. I totally agree with you. Share the shit out of this video. Get people watching. People need to know about this and just how messed up this government actually is. Let's carry on.
There's just so many questions, and we can sit on here and speculate all we want, but there is an answer to why this was allowed to happen. There is an answer as to why the public weren't informed that this dangerous, convicted sexual paedophilic predator was out on the streets.
Say it as it is, mate,
and
yeah.
There are those online, you've alluded to this
There
already,
is.
Dawn, that
There
are
is.
suggesting that,
Right
in
there.
fact, the release of this man was not an accident. Now, I'm not going to go down that road. I don't know that there's any evidence to suggest that that is the case. But if you wanted to create the conditions and to have an event
I believe is of Ethiopian descent.
that would spark
Mr. Kebab.
basically, you know, it could certainly act as a, you know, a kind of spark for more of the kinds of scenes that we saw outside the
Here
Bell
he
Hotel
is.
earlier this year, and indeed across the country. Well, this is what you would do.
Why would you want that?
I'm not saying that the government does want that, but, you know,
I mean,
who knows?
there are so many conspiracy theories about, you know, even saying good morning to someone these days can cause a conspiracy theory. We know that, and I don't want to go down that rabbit hole.
What does that say, by the way, Dawn? That people are so distrustful of authority that they are prepared to believe that they have allowed out a literal convicted paedophile, you know, as an actual decision.
I think that's a really interesting point now. Not the conspiracy theory so much, Sebastian, but the fact that now people have such a distrust of people in authority. I mean, you are a councillor, so you are in authority to a certain extent. I mean, but the public, and certainly women and girls now, have a huge distrust of the police. I mean, you know, we all sort of like know what's happened in the past with the police not being trusted. Why do you think that is, and what can we do about it?
Well, I think it's down to repeated failures. That trust only erodes because there are moments where it is shown that you can't trust the police. And I think of Sarah Everard, for example, which I think is a golden example of a time when a policeman just couldn't be trusted to great tragedy. It's really, really heartbreaking when it happens, and it requires a great amount of work to rebuild that trust on behalf of whichever institution abused it in the first place. The police is still doing a lot of work around that. I think there was a lot of institutional distrust. We see, sadly, certain people from certain backgrounds picked out and stopped and searched or whatever else, which is...
Now, for anybody wondering why this sort of shit happens, right, these men come from countries that do not respect women and children. For example, Islam believes it's okay to marry a 9-year-old child. There are multiple videos on platforms of Muslim men marrying 9-year-old children because what's good enough for their Prophet Muhammad is good enough for them. They come over on these boats to this country and they treat our women the same as they treat their women in their country. Why it might not be illegal in their country, it is in this country. They are not respecting our values at all. That is the truth. As much as people don't like it, that is why this sort of shit is happening, and it is going to stop. That's it, end of. It's going to stop. Let's carry on with the video.
Is an issue, and I can understand why some communities may feel slightly less trusting of the police
If
than
those
others.
communities are more likely to be committing the crimes that they are, you know, looking out for someone for, then surely stopping and searching them makes sense.
Not necessarily. I mean, I talk to my black friends about this, and I'm really struck by the stories they tell me and the number of times they've been stopped and searched, and these are perfectly upstanding members of society who have never done anything wrong. I think it's unfair to target them disproportionately.
I agree with that. We can't tarnish everybody with the same brush, but what this is actually doing is making it more difficult for genuine asylum seekers that are fleeing war and persecution from their actual country to come into this country and be trusted. So they're not doing them any favours either. We can all say refugees are welcome here because they are, but these ones that want to do things to our families are not, the illegal ones.
Based on any kind of vague ideas
You ain't got
that
a
people
passport,
might have about
fuck
who commits
off.
what.
Okay, just coming back to you quickly on this one, Charlie, about the lack of trust. I mean, obviously, the other story in the papers today, we were going to be debating it, we're not now, obviously, because of this live breaking story. But the grooming gangs, the grooming gangs inquiry has...
Now, is this designed to take the heat off Keir Starmer because of the grooming gangs and what's happening with China and him lying about China? Because that isn't going to work, because you've got people like me that will keep on highlighting these stories over and over and over and over again, and I am the most persistent mother bugger you will meet. No one's going to forget about it, Keir Starmer. Believe me, they're not.
been potentially kicked down the road for another year now. Again, an issue of trust. Young girls who've been abused went to the police. They went to the council care workers who were meant to be guardians looking after them, and they were abused by those people.
Yes, I think there's a few things I'd like to unpack here. The first is that I don't think that the majority of people distrust the police because of things like, you know, the Sarah Everard case.
Yeah, people don't trust the police because they're far left and they're being controlled by Sadiq Khan and Mark Rowley. That's the truth. That's why the Met Police are the lowest in the whole country, next to Yorkshire Police.
And the allegations of institutional racism or whatever else. I think it is the far more clear-cut examples of police forces covering up Pakistani Muslim rape gangs across the country for a number of decades, which is now a very mainstream issue, and it's one of the darkest and.
So what I'm going to do is I'm going to call that the end of the video for now, and basically if I get any more updates on anything that happens, for instance if he's caught, I will try and do a live as soon as I possibly can. Let's roll the outro.
Yeah, I do just what I do, and I hope you let me in, yeah.